Hi everyone, this is Killshot 99 Dead. This is The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 9, complete spoiler. This is it. We need to let you guys know. Warning, we're going to talk about the show, so the gloves are off. Anything is open season. If you got knowledge, drop that knowledge. Get it included in this video. That's what it's all about. People have been warned, so they have a chance to kind of close it down. I'll probably say this several times throughout the stream, just people kind of popping in, but hopefully they see the title. Before we get into it, do want to give a super chat shout out to Valar. Hello to the 99 Army, Kill Steph, Emmy Kell, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, patrons, of course, all the super chatters. And one of the rules, you guys know, if they do super chat during the stream, whatever topic I'm talking about, I'm going to stop and I'm going to answer the super chat questions as well. I do want to announce just a couple milestones really quickly before we get into the video because the off-season has been phenomenal. You guys know 99 Gaming, we're about 80,000 subs. We started building up the 99 Dead channel. This one, over 2,000 subs to that already in a short period of time. And also the 99 Army, we set a goal to get to 1,000 before The Walking Dead premiere, and we're almost at 900. So I got a feeling by the time we get to Sunday, we're going to be over 1,000 on the 999 Army channel as well. And it's just going to set up a lot of cool things that we can do with diversifying our streams a little bit. Also, 65 patrons. Thank you to all the patrons. And almost 900 Facebook fans. So this is why we're the Army. What a tremendous group of people. And the new people watching, I do want to say this. Not only is this an awesome group, just a big group of people, it's a family type of environment. So we don't have a whole lot of trolls, just a lot of crazy people. It's a lot of people like to talk to each other. So thank you so much for everything that you guys do. I'm going to jump right into it if you guys don't mind. So, the way the premiere started out is we do get a little bit of the storyline back and forth between the are they going to survive out in the cemetery? Who's going to make it? Who's not going to make it? And we get the "you die now" whispered with the dog barking, so some high drama there. And then what I found was really interesting is the Yumiko's there, and Michonne is ready to give her life. Like, you go, I'll cover you. What a brave thing for Michonne to do. Could that mean that she's walking on some thin ice, that she might not make it very long? You guys be the judge on that. Let me jump over to Super Chat. We got June Smith, avid, diehard Rick Grimes fan. June Smith, what's going on, June? Super chatting, says, good evening to the 99 Army, and I am ready. Let's go. What's what we're going to do? We are going to, we're going to break it down. So, it is typical Walking Dead when a character gets too valiant, I'll give my life for you, I'll do this. Maybe it doesn't happen the first time, but that is a little bit of a kiss of death, isn't it? If Michonne is, I don't even know what you're trying to say there, Manuel. All right. Yep, that was probably not the way to sort of burst onto the scene there, Manuel. It got you hidden. So, be a little more cautious next time. Let's move on. Negan with the shovel, so as you can see right here. And, as the picture details, you guys can see the hat. You can see the Rick Grimes shirt. But the compass. Let's get some feedback just on Negan rocking the Rick gear. Do you guys think it was subtle? It was meant to sort of transition us over to get us a little bit more used to a calmer, more gentler Negan? Or do you think it was just kind of, it was convenient, or was it indirect slap in the face to Rick? I liked it. It's definitely, he's a wannabe. He wasn't a wannabe, Steph, because he got the leather jacket later on. The first chance he got, he wanted to get that leather jacket. He was out looking for a leather jacket. I like that, Najee. Shows that he accepts Rick's way. See, that's what I want to hear. See, Najee's objective, it's like, okay, he's wearing Rick's clothes. He's buying into the bigger picture of things. It's not about one person. Some people are saying he just needed clothes. I get it. So we get the standoff, and if you forgot how awesome Judith was, we got to see it right from the start. Here's Negan getting ready to climb over, And Judith's like, stop, I'll shoot. And then Negan's like, you're not going to do that, little lady, kind of talking to her. And she basically tells him, like, how about no? Rules are rules. And then Negan goes into I won't say it's a speech, because a speech sounds a little bit like it's fake. So Negan did say to Judith that your mom and dad said there was something bigger for me. And if you let me go, I promise I won't hurt anybody. So what did you think about Negan's interaction? And for a second, don't focus on the word so much, but those of you that saw it, what did you think about the focus and the the eye contact? Did you feel like there was a sense of sincerity for those that watched it? And for those that didn't, I'll give my opinion, because a lot of people watching might not have seen the spoiler yet. But I do want to get some of your thoughts included in this video. Hippo, that's later on. That's about 5 minutes from the very end. Sound, heartfelt, with respect. And I felt that too. That's probably true, Ellis. If she shoots that gun, it's probably going to knock her back about 50 feet. But, not everything in Walking Dead is realistic. But it does create a nice visual. So, are most on board with the fact that Negan means what he says? I mean, when he says, look, I'm not out to hurt anybody, I just need to figure some things out. I kind of felt that. Now, that's not taking walkers into consideration. But you know what really made it makes sense? Because a lot of times you go back and you say hindsight. And we'll get to this later on the spoiler. But Big Richie, he says that he didn't want to hurt anybody, and he goes out of his way to try to spare Big Richie until he sees it as a threat. And by not hurting anybody, he's not talking about walkers. I mean, he has to survive. And the true tale of the tape is going to be the next couple episodes. Negan is definitely a changed person, but even a changed person is going to be tempted. And I will tell you, I'm okay with him trying to do it. I'm not okay with him not doing it. Because if he doesn't do it, we got Morgan 2.0. And I really don't want Morgan 2.0. I don't think you can take Negan's words in the literal sense. I think you have to take it as, look, he said, I'm not going to hurt people even if they hurt me. This is not a spoiler. This is a prediction. Negan is going to be tested. And I think a storyline in the future, toward the end of this season, is going to be whether or not he will go back on his word to Judith. And that sounds minor at this point, but I just feel like you're going to see Negan trying to practice restraint. And he's either going to see something happen, something that just offends him so much that he's going to have to violate what he says to Judith to probably do the right thing in his mind. All I'm saying, and it is a very, very small minority, small group of people that still have not given Negan the benefit of the doubt. I just think as more and more things surface, it's going to be tougher and tougher to hold that position. Because, and Steph and DJ and a few other people that are pretty outspoken, the problem's going to be is your argument with Negan is going to be evolving. And what I mean by that is, at first it was the same argument that I had to a degree, right? It was, well, I can't forgive him because of what happened to Glenn. And now the argument has started to transform, and this is the dangerous ground. If you have that Negan backsliding position, he may never backslide. So you may be shifting the blame between, okay, well, I can't forgive him what happened to Glenn. Oh, no. Negan's a seasoned liar. Oh, no. Negan hasn't changed. No. And it's always a moving target, because you may see that he did change, and you may see that he does help people, and you may see that prison has reformed him. And if the writers write it that way, I don't control that. You don't control that. That's up to the writers. So we're going to kind of see what's in front of us. My fear is that as a last resort, it's going to be, okay, well, let me just go back to Glenn. And you're just going to have this never-ending cycle that is just always going to be that one topic. I mean, that's kind of my feel with it. And that's sort of the way I had to transition my thought process to Negan. Is, remember, even though it's only 2 years for us, it's like 7 years for them. So a lot can change in 7 years. But regardless of that, like I said, more to be seen with Negan. It's going to be a very difficult story if they keep him in fandom purgatory. I think it's good or evil, and with a greater evil out there, he's good. Now, 2 years from now, all bets are off. But we got to go with what we know. The Hilltop search party. And I'll jump to the Hilltop search party in 1 second. June Smith says, hey, let's give Negan a chance. We need him. We're dwindling down. I'm willing to see how he's going to play out. So, June, I think you're a visionary. This is what I love about the Super Chat. Like, June is already ready to give Negan a chance. Now, I am almost ready to give him a chance. Here's what I'm saying. I'm probably north of neutral on the Negan topic. So, and what I mean by north of neutral, I know that I'm going to be Team Negan only because I know the direction we're being pushed in with the story. And I appreciate that, June, because you're already seeing what's going to play out. So, I don't think today I'm 100% give him a chance, but I'm prepared to give him a chance because I do know that there are going to be major people, like you said, that there's going to be some loss. And once there's loss, it's who can help win this war. And he might be the one to do it. All right, but we are moving on because we're not going to make this a complete Negan stream, at least with that topic, because we got some other things to really address with Negan as we go through. So I want to talk about this Hilltop search party. There was some convenience with it. It was very, it was perfect writing, I guess. I'm not going to pick it apart. But when they started breaking down in groups of 2, to go out and search parties. First and foremost, was that a good idea or was that a bad idea? Those of you that have seen it, you know. Those of you watching the spoilers, what did you think about them going out in groups of 2 and Luke and Alden being paired up? Rosie's like, thanks for the spoilers. Now I can pay for you to watch and get the rundown instead. Well, yes, Rosie, but watching the show and then adding your own spin to it, it helps me as well. I mean, I like the interaction. But I'll always be here for the spoilers. I'll always be here for the recaps as well. So Emmy says awful idea. And Emmy, probably a little bit of hindsight with that. Because we know how it plays out. Khaleesi says dumb sending them out of 2 together. Thought it was very risky. Okay, Kim, you brought up a good point. So Kimberly says thought it was very risky with the recent events. Now, Kimberly M., what recent events are you referring to that would have kept them from going out in a search party? Exactly. They didn't know. So this is why, and I was kind of not really picking on Emmy, but and Kimberly M., we got to get into the context of what they were doing at that point. They had no idea about the whispers. All they know is that Rosita's losing her mind. She thought something was going on. So, in retrospect, it doesn't look like that bad of an idea because Rosita's dehydrated. She's freaking out. People went out. They've been out a little bit too long. Let's go out and look for them. However, if I go out and I look for a group of people, I'm going to kind of play the opposite of the devil's advocate, I guess, because that's one argument. Now, they went out looking, and Daryl and Michonne were part of that group. If Daryl and Michonne haven't made it back, I don't know that I'm going to send out 2 people. And especially, what were they going to find? And think about this for a minute. And I'll jump in this Drama King Super Chat in 1 second. Did Daryl and Michonne both twist their ankle and they need Luke and Alden to go out and save the day? No. And if there was some major threat out there, what are they going to find? He did. They were going to find Yumi too. He felt the connection to it. But they do know that there's a bigger search party out there looking. So I definitely wouldn't have sent groups of 2. That's why I think it's kind of convenient writing. We can look at it a couple different ways. Yes, they didn't know the threat, but it was a setup. And I'll tell you what the big setup was. So Drama King says, I was confused about Yumiko's arrow trail. Were they Yumi's or did the whispers set them up? That's a great, great call out. I would, if I had to guess, I would say the whispers pulled the arrows out of the walkers and set them up. Now, I don't know that Alpha is going to know that there would have been a search party. Maybe. Maybe they were listening from outside. They knew what was going on. But once again, Drama, I don't know if that's a question that a lot of people would ask. I'm not saying it's a plot hole, but it's definitely something that we would break down. And hey, who knows? I mean, not picking on other people, but there could be people out there that do a whole video on that and say, hey, big reveal, Alpha planted the arrows as a setup. I think it's interesting, but I think it's a miss. I don't know that it's ever going to come up. I just think it's, we're left to our own devices of whether or not, was it Yumi? Are we going to drill down to that level, or was it Alpha? I think you're right. I think the Whisper set up, I think it's Alpha, but that does seem too convenient that she would just know that people are out there walking and, hey, come over here. Hey, come over here. Oh, there's only going to be 2 of you. Yes, I mean, good call out. Tough to tell. Now, the groups of 2 and why the convenient writing worked out. I mentioned this in the reaction video. There is so much hype around this fair. If you don't believe at this point, with your heart, your soul, with your whole existence, that the writers picked Luke and they picked Alden and they put them out in this situation, and they needed some casual conversation, and they needed the singing and the joking to mention the fair, the fair, the fair, the fair. 5 times they mentioned the fair in the dialogue. It was beyond. Casey has seen other channels calling it the Red Fair. Well, of course they call it the Red Fair. And Casey, in case you didn't know, there's other channels that actually pop in our streams and listen to our streams, which is cool too. They're welcome. Imitation is the best form of flattery. But the Red Fair, and hey, I don't have the exact dialogue, but it went something like this for those of you here for the spoilers that didn't see it. Hey, you play an instrument? Yeah, I'm pretty good at it. Do you sing? Yeah, in some situations I kind of sing. Oh, you're going to be really good at the fair. Can't wait for that. I'm going to hold you to it. And then, there's some other stuff. Hey, this is Yumi's arrow. And they kind of go back and it's like, all right, well, I'll bet you, I know Yumi. If nothing else, you're going to owe me. You're going to be singing at that fair. It was just on and on, honestly. So if it wasn't a big deal, I don't think that it would be how Ezekiel talked about it. And by big deal, I mean, you can't just have a thing where people are there bartering goods back and forth. Major death and destruction is going to go on at this fair. If it's not, I will eat these 6 pages of notes. You know what? Here, I'll take Luke's line. If a major character doesn't die at the fair, then I will sing at the fair myself. So there you go. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. It is going to happen, and I think we're going to hear more and more references to it. And I'm going to keep a log. I got 5 so far. So in episode 10, if we hear a couple more, I'm going to write them down. It's fair to assume that the fair will be a big deal. You're right. All right. Let me, meanwhile, at the Hilltop, so you got one group going out, one group coming back. We get the death of Jesus. And for those of you that did not see the episode, somebody took a stand. A minor character took a stand and said, people are looking at you for justice. Justice must be served. All right. Those of you that watched it, you will see my very bad impression of Tammy Rose. Those of you that did not, that was my impression of Tammy Rose. Why is Tammy Rose the spokesperson for everybody and all things Hilltop. Because she is dead. She is dead as a doornail. You better believe it. Give her a little bit of airtime. Give her a little bit more dialogue. She's going to incite the masses. She is gone because she will be one of the ones that is taken out at the Red Fair. She's gone. Kimberly was like, she annoys me. Yep. So, that was, and she's like, who did this? Who did this? Her people did it. And then we get to set up into Lydia. Now we get into it. Lydia is a liar. Some people are calling her Lydia. And meanwhile, and I'll get back to Lydia in a second, we got Negan walking around to some nice Western music. And boy, Angela Kang, she set us up for that. She said Negan goes on a journey, kind of like an awakening, and it's a very Western type of thing. She did not lie at all. Those that watched, what did you think about the Negan with the Wild West sort of going through the motions? Brilliant. I like it. I did too. I did like his path. Here's a character that I'm just a little bit confused with, though. It goes to, and let me just get to the spoilers, and then I'll talk about why I'm confused. So, as Lydia's locked up, Henry's like, what happened? What happened? He's already getting in the business. He's already asking questions. Daryl and Michonne do a little bit of interrogation, not working out. Lydia just lies about everything, right? No, it's just me and my mom. There were more. We're not getting any of the details. And then she talks about, they were good people. You wouldn't understand. And Michonne asked a very, very good question. Michonne says, do your people know about us? And Michonne's scared that they've been watched. So you do see a little bit of Michonne's insight. And she basically tells Daryl, you're going to have to do this on your own. Because I got to get back and warn people of Alexandria. And then you see Tara trying to lead, but Daryl is kind of the person behind the scenes. Michonne, like, they need you. When all this is done, they're going to need you. All right, we got several pages of spoilers here. So we're probably about halfway through with the episode, and we're about halfway through with the stream as well. So I'm just going to take a couple seconds and recognize a few people. So just specifically what I've talked about up to this point. Most shocking, confusing, disappointing up to this point. Because when I did the reaction, I will go on record and say it is one of the best episodes that I've seen. Those of you that have seen it can chime in. Those of you that are here for the conversation before you watch it, that hopefully that'll hype you up just a little bit. Because I don't give super high ratings to just anything. I give Walking Dead, an 8.5, an 8.8, 9. This was one of the best episodes because it was not choppy. I did mention the convenience and the fare, but I think that was important. I'm okay with them overhyping the fair. I'm not going to count that against this episode if the fair sucks. I'm going to count it against the fair episode because they're building up my interest. Dwayne Willis has watched it 4 times now. That's pretty good. Julia, we will definitely get into alpha psychology. You know I'm not going to leave that one alone. That's all we got so far, right, Omicron? Trail ends here. I will spend entire episodes getting into the mind of Alpha. Dark place. Very dark place. Okay, so good. We're seeing several people have watched it multiple times. And you know what they like so far? Mother of the Year award. All right, well, I'm going to move on to the second half. The second half really starts with Sadiq taking care of Eugene's knee. We get him straightened out. And by my count, how many times is Eugene going to be... Okay. I just had a thought. So this isn't spoiler. But something happened. It just jumped off the page at me when I was about to ask the question. And I think it is a great writing setup. Mariah Campese says Eugene is going to die. I'm going to say Drama King. I'm going to say Rosita is going to die. Some people asked me the other night, would they kill Rosita now that we know she's pregnant? So those of you waiting for the spoilers, yes, she is pregnant. She tells Sadiq. And in the comic, she is pregnant and she does get decapitated. And here's why I think Rosita is going to die. Just something very simple. When Rosita and Eugene were going to the radio tower, Rosita said to him, you have something to say, just spit it out, Eugene. And I think Eugene did not feel it was the appropriate time to harvest all of his emotions and project that directly onto Rosita, like his vomiting in a previous episode. All right, there you go. So anyway, that's something Eugene would say. But she asked for it. She's like, say it. Spit it out. What is it? So then when they get to a point where they're about to die, Eugene is ready to say, look, it's gone. And she's like, this is awkward. Don't do it. And he had to stifle it, right? So now you have Eugene right there. He just got his knee fixed and he's going through all these emotions and he's getting ready to do it again. And she's getting sick. So 2 times he's tried to mention to her how he feels. So I feel like that's going to be a major storyline. And I think it's going to happen. Either he's going to witness a Rosita death, or after the fact, he's going to somehow get the chance to tell her he loves her and it's going to be too late. Something's going to go down with that. Stay tuned for that. Write it down. It's not a confirmed spoiler, but my feeling is because they've highlighted it so much and because they led up to it, it gets shut down. They led up to it, it gets shut down. I think the third time is going to be a death confession. It's got to happen. It's got to mean something, right? All right, we got Charles Thompson super chatting, says, I feel bad for Eugene. He loves her and she won't let him tell her. and she's going to die without him telling her. So that's kind of, yeah, Charles, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I think that it's going to be transitional, that it's going to make Eugene a different character. Look, I don't know that we're comfortable. Eugene is not hated, but the cowardly lion thing, I think people want to see him just step up and stand for something. And I don't think Eugene's going to die a coward. So that's why I feel like it could probably be Rosita, and then Eugene is going to have an agenda, and that's going to be to start fighting. So real quick question before I get into some more spoilers. Do you guys feel like with the right incentive and the right goal, desire, motivation, can Eugene on the TV show turn into comic Eugene where he actually is much tougher? Can they pull that off? I thought we were going to get at the beginning of this season when they showed kind of a buff Eugene walking around the sanctuary in episode number 1. All right, cool. I just wanted to kind of get that in the video. So that is not a spoiler. That's just something we're talking about a little bit. The spoiler is Eugene doesn't get a chance to tell Rosita he loves her, and Rosita is pregnant. Back to the sanctuary. Negan makes it to the sanctuary, and we get the... So we get the whistling. Just want to see who's out there. Anybody who might still be there. It does look like he's got a, where he tears the wall down. Did that look like maybe a hiding place or something hid behind the wall? I did kind of gloss over that a little bit. I was wondering why Negan was tearing down the wall. Some of the people watched it 3 or 4 times. Maybe you can kind of chime in. Okay, was the bike was hidden behind the wall? Cool. Thank you for that, Villar. Motorcycle. Okay. We get the big Richie, and he even says, loyal till the end. So you get a little bit of Negan's kind of charm, and I think you can see the direction they're going with it. Meanwhile, just like the conversation between Alden and Luke was foreshadowing, we get a little bit of cryptic conversation and maybe a little bit of foreshadowing between Aaron and Michonne. Aaron says to Michonne, you were right. I didn't see it. And we've seen a couple times, and Aaron and Michonne are having a conversation. Earlier we had Michonne and Daryl. It was right to bring Jesus back. And Daryl's like, I wished I could have done the same thing for Rick. And she's like, well, thank you for what you did, and thank you for what you did after. So perfectly foreshadowed of the X's and what happened with that group. The involvement of the other group or lack thereof, I still think Alexandria was under a lot of pressure, and Hilltop probably just didn't get there in time or help him out. Something major went down with that, and I think that's where the animosity is. Like, where were you at? But certainly, we see Michonne's wisdom in full play in all those conversations. Then we kind of go back to, Daryl does say, all right, when Michonne says she wants Daryl to lead. Then we go back to Sanctuary again. And Negan's kind of sitting at his table, and then he leaves the table, he goes over to his sofa, and what's really important about this is it's symbolic. It shows that all those PowerPoints that Negan had before, well, let me stop. I don't want to answer this question for everybody. I stopped mid-sentence, so hopefully I didn't give you the entire answer. Did you feel like there was anything symbolic about the sofa, the table, before I answer what I thought was symbolic about it? Because there was a lesson to be learned here. Creepy says he misses the easy street. No, none of us miss easy street. Ralph absolutely shows he's power, sort of. Well, the way I see it, and I think you're right, Melody, there's loneliness, but he has the similar objects. He still has his table. He still has his sofa. He could sit there and relax. But people, he realizes that it's almost like Strand. That's kind of the way I felt. Do you remember when Strand was in that big house and he had all the alcohol and he thought he was just in a perfect situation? And the more things that happened, I guess we can learn things from Fear the Walking Dead as well. But they wanted to keep moving, and Strand kept saying, no, I'm good here. I'm good. I got everything I need. I got a cellar. I got all of this. But even Strand realized as more and more things happened that he needed people. And I think what we're starting to see with Negan is he needs to be around people. Stop, Steph, stop. Let it go, please. For the love of God, let it go. There are no people there to either listen to him or to associate with him. And I think you start to see that loneliness kick in. Even when he had Big Richie there, that was the point of, sorry, it's just not working out. It wasn't quite the Negan of, I'm just going to brutalize somebody. He's at his table, seeing what it feels like. He's looking around. He has items. He's there on the sofa, and then Big Richie walks up, and it's just kind of like, I got to kill you. It was like his last resort, and it was his breaking point of leaving the sanctuary. He could have stayed, but he didn't. And I think that's the symbolism there of whether, and and maybe to a degree, to Steph's point, not having that power. Lucille was a symbol of power. His people were a symbol of power. But I don't see it that way. I see it as he's lonely. He realizes, and Emmy, you're right, he realized his old ways were not what he wants anymore. Perfectly said. I could not say that any better than Emmy just said it. His old ways are not what he wants anymore. And that's why you see this journey. The journey is not coincidental. Walking through this, this area, this familiar area, and seeing things that he saw before, it is the transition. And the old Negan is we're gradually seeing that kind of materialize into something. What ultimately he turns into and the character he turns into, we can debate that, and only time will tell. But I can tell you, we're not going through this journey with him, and the writers are not putting us through this journey with him just to see him find Lucille and have a lineup and beat down a whole bunch of innocent people. Those days are long gone. Daryl, Lydia, and Henry. What a perfect setup. So we'll get back to the spoilers a little bit. Daryl is just getting irate with Lydia. Who are you? You want to die? And then Henry's like, listen to this, like, what? Is he going to kill her? Really trying to do this aggressive interrogation. This definitely a dark foreshadowing moment is when Lydia didn't tell Daryl everything that he needed, and he got a little bit more information later. But what she told him, I think, was very eye-opening. We got Drama King. I'll jump over to that real quick. It says, first time we see Beta, casual scene, or brutal. I'm having a hard time with this one. Only because Drama King, I'm also thinking about the first time we see Alpha, and it's a cliffhanger. So I'm thinking that before I get to Beta, I got to think about Alpha, and then the impact of which character. So I'm going to say it depends. Right? Is that kind of neutral enough for you? If Alpha shoots one of those two people with a shotgun, I'm going to give you casual Beta. If Alpha takes them prisoner as a negotiating bargaining chip, I'm going to say the first time we see Beta, it's just going to be ripping somebody apart. How about that? Is that a fair enough answer? I mean, that's just kind of the way I feel about it. I don't think both of them will be completely aligned. I think one will be either strategy and the other be aggressive, or one will be violent and the other will be kind of taking orders and will take care of things whenever they need to have it done. We got, thank you so much, Twin on Tour J, with that super chat. And if you have a follow-up question, just type it up. So appreciate that. Love you guys. If anybody does a super chat, before you hit the send button, just type a couple lines. Even if it is, if it's a question, I'm going to stop and answer your question. But at a minimum, just say, hey, just want to give a shout out to the moderators, and they're doing a great job and Walking Dead. But I appreciate that as well. There you go. So Twin on Tour says, Negan is the man now. Alpha voice is not nice. Yeah, well, at least she whispers. So now, I don't know. I don't know how many long speeches she's going to give. But it was a little like nails on a chalkboard. So here's the thing that you probably got this, but I do think it's extremely important. And this is going to show you how violent the whispers are going to be in the future. Daryl just asked a weird question. Dark Stark is like, Kills, do the voice, please. Okay, I will in a little bit. Now, Daryl's question should have been, and it was appropriate, do you have camp? Okay, anybody have a problem with Daryl asking if she has a camp? I don't. I mean, I think that's a fair question, right? You want to know. I'll give it a second. But he asked, do you have a camp? Do you have walls? Now, the second part of that question bothers me. That'd be like, I don't know, you have camp, microwave, stainless steel stove. I mean, the follow-up question with the walls, not important. It was a setup. I mean, I don't think it's, do you have a camp, you have walls, we're not going to go climb your walls. Exactly. You guys see where I'm going with that. You got a camp, you got a shower, because I really need one. The reason it was an important question, but not something most of us would ask, is because Lydia's response is, walls don't work. Now, I'm more interested in her response. Wow, dude, you are like just Yeah, this Carl Grimes guy needs to go away forever. Thank you. Thank you. No, don't time him out. He needs to go. Like, permanent. Thank you. Wow, what a weirdo. I'm jumping over to the next topic here. My mom told me about change. But then after Lydia says walls don't work, she says, we were always going to kill you. Whoa, hold on now. We're always going to kill you? Did I write that down correctly? Because that might be the most shocking moment of the entire episode. We're always going to kill you. Your walls don't work. We will get to you. If that doesn't make you want to get on high alert immediately, yeah, that blew me away. So Daryl leaves, and then we get Lydia and Henry having a little small talk, like, thank you. And Henry's like, I had to. I couldn't let him kill you. By the way, I'm Lydia. All right. Steph, I know you mentioned you had a real problem with Lydia and Lydia the liar. Hold on a minute. Did Henry lose his damn mind? I was willing to give Henry another chance. He was a stupid little kid. And then, now I felt like, all right, he's coming around. I was worried about, the emotional strain on Carol if something happens to Henry. And now Henry is making small talk with this girl who he just heard say, we were always going to kill you. I mean, Henry's listening to this. And more likely than not in the future story, Henry is going to go try to help her. He's going to go try to find her. So yeah, Henry needs to go. So quick question. Like I said, I'm not trying to pick it apart. But Drama King, back to your point earlier where it was like, whose arrows is it? Is that bad writing? Because that seems just out of context. I mean, I get it. I mean, I understand you can be attracted to somebody, but we were always going to kill all your people. Hey, you know what, Henry? I'm glad you like me, but we were going to kill your dad, your mom, and all those other people. Probably would have killed you too. Yeah. It's not congruent. I'll put it that way. I mean, the girl just threatened you, and hey, yeah, I couldn't let Daryl do that. All right. Real problem with that. And then, we're winding down to the spoilers. Probably my favorite scene. The last two scenes were Negan is on his motorcycle. Now, Judith did tell him previously, if I see you again, I'm going to shoot you. And here comes Negan, just happy-go-lucky, riding his motorcycle. And Judith made some time. She tracked him down. So, well, actually, hold on. She might not have tracked him down that much because it does look like Negan was on his way back. I can't imagine she followed him all the way there. But she does shoot at him. He wrecks the bike. And, he tells her he's coming back, that didn't really find anything. And she's like, I told you weren't going to find anything. And then it's, you sure as shit did. Language. I'm a kid, asshole. Loved it. Loved the exchange. How many people, all right, I'm going to ask that question as soon as I do this super chat. Angie, what's up, Angie? Just showing love for my dead mates in the channel. I'm loving Negan-Judith interaction. Henry is a PIA. Thank you so much, Angie. Appreciate that. Thanks for the support, and we love you too. And you know what? You brought up the Negan-Judith dynamic. So we talked about Judith being a badass, and look, I don't think it's too soon to ask this question, because Rick's not dead. Do you guys see a little bit of Negan, Judy kind of taking after Negan a little bit more than other characters? She's got kind of his sense of humor. Like, I don't know that Rick ever had that sense of humor. There were a few lines, Rick would throw out there every once in a while, but Rick, not an extremely funny guy. Kimberly, I see the toughness of Shane, but I see the dialogue and the back and forth. I don't know, Kel. I don't agree. I don't think Shane was more like just a short fuse. I didn't see him as really having the comeback lines, the really good lines. Shane would get in your face. But the banter to me is really entertaining. And I think they'll do a great job with the two of them. Already people are talking about how good the dynamic is. Tom Ferrara says, as blasphemous, I can't say that word, blasphemous, would say, well, I guess Henry has the same ideology. Tom, I am back and forth on Henry, I guess, as much as I was on Father G. That's the only other character I can think of. And I know, look, we can come up with different reasons for Henry. The attraction, he's lonely. We saw it with Enid. We saw him searching for something. Now, in fairness, and Tom with a follow-up, I was going to say most attractive. Well, let me kind of just take a general stance. This was sort of set up with us a little bit. When Henry tells Daryl, I haven't found my place, tells me he's searching for a place. Whether that he finds that with Lydia that could be his soulmate, his conversation, he doesn't have a place that he fits in. So I get it. But there still has to be the voice of reason. And the reason I bring this up, June, one last chat. Long live Rick. That's going to be my next topic. And how this could go down. If Henry can't do the right thing in the jail cell by ignoring Lydia and letting her leave and not following her, what makes anybody here think that when Beta captures him, that he'll be able to do the right thing then if he can't find his place? Or would Henry be more likely to just abandon everybody and become a whisperer? Why not? I would think, honestly, if Henry really needs a place, if he really needs something, that should be his path. He should join them. Not, I don't see a path where he's going to be able to help anybody. And at this point, I don't know that there's a good way to write that in. Omicron, I think you're right. Omicron says Henry will sell out for a kiss on the cheek. He's desperate right now, so why not? Open-ended, I'm not ready to make a bold prediction with that of how the Henry thing's going to play out. Does Alpha kill him? But before the scene with Lydia and Henry, I was so worried about the emotional impact it would have on Carol. I'm still worried about the emotional impact it would have on Carol, but I got to be honest with you, not as much. Because I'm kind of halfway okay with him dying now. Enid and Alden are new. Yes. Now, I guess new's relative. How new? A couple months, a couple weeks. Drama, I think you give me really good bulletin board material because they're deeper dives that I haven't really dug that deep into it. And I do think it's important. But how attached they are. Enid seems very into him, though. I mean, even if it is a new relationship, I think there's enough of it there that there's going to be some hurt. And I do think, I think Alden, I just don't see whether, I don't think it's going to be long term. I'm pretty sure Alden's going to go. That's what I'm here for in Daryl bashing. Hey, more power to it, my man. Keep doing it. Better you doing it than me because I have a microphone and it doesn't go over well because I can't piss off thousands of Daryl fans. So, a couple more points and we'll wind down these spoilers. So, my Passage fans out there, I know there's a lot of Passage fans. How many people are really intrigued by the Brad-Amy dynamic and how cool that is to watch that sort of transpire on the television show? Because I'm going to draw another comparison. I think the Negan-Judith dynamic and relationship is 5 times better than the Brad-Amy relationship. I love it. And don't get me wrong. I like the Brad-Amy relationship, but the Negan and Judith relationship, seeing how Negan might have something to die for, something to live for, something to sacrifice for. We've never seen that. The only thing we saw before was Negan willing to die for a baseball bat. And now there's a living, breathing thing that he cares about. And oh boy, imagine if something happens to Michonne. Can you imagine how protective he would be? And the last thing, because I know my Whisper fans are not going to want us to not talk about the spoiler here and get to that, is after Luke and Alden compare musical instruments and singing notes and all the wonderful things they're going to do at the fair and the arrows that were probably planted by Alpha, And the fact that they're looking around because they are surrounded by walkers that are not moving. So for a moment, they have that Rosita moment, like, this is weird. And Alpha throws one of the arrows at their feet. And I think it all hits at one time. Alpha pulls out the shotgun and says, the trail ends here. So cliffhanger we got it set up for. I am waiting on spoilers to come out, but let me put it this way. I will be shocked if we don't get a death in episode number 10. Once the spoilers come out for that, I'm just going to be surprised if we get 2 episodes into the last 8 and somebody is not gone. And really quick, last question I have for the group. Odds of someone dying, not a walker, odds of a person dying in episode number 10. Leave it right now. Let's see if we're going to be close. I'm going to say 100%. I'm not going to back down from it. I'm going to say there is no doubt that someone is gone. We may get Beta. We're going to get Beta. Twin on tour saying 2 people. All right, a lot of high numbers there. All right, everybody, with that, we are an hour and 6 minutes. Super long stream tonight. So we went through the entire episode, complete spoilers. I want to say thank you so much. Appreciate you guys being here. Not just the spoilers. I appreciate your comments, your interaction, the super chatters, obviously. But in addition to super chatters, I'm kind of scrolling through, and a whole lot of you had some really good ideas as well. So I was able to get a lot of your comments into this, but even the ones I didn't, I saw a lot of you guys answering each other's questions. This has exceeded my wildest dreams as far as a living, live, developing Walking Dead forum. And I'll say it over and over again. You can, and I definitely, implore you to, check out other sites. And I know Spoiling Dead's fan page, and there's other sites out there, other Facebook fan pages. But our real-time conversation, our real-time forums is, it makes it all worthwhile. So seeing each and every one of you every single day, especially when we're in season like we are right now, just tons and tons of fun. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. I want to give a shout out to the patrons in the top left-hand corner. If you guys are interested in becoming a patron, there is a link down below. Sponsors in the top right-hand corner. Our moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. If you're brand new, definitely subscribe. If you just subscribe to this channel, subscribe to all 3. If you go to the main page of this, you'll see 999 Gaming. We got about 80K subs. We're going to start ramping that up very soon. We got a couple more of these channels that we want to continue to build. This is obviously one of them, but also you'll see a link to the 999 Army channel. So I would love for you guys to subscribe to all 3 of those because we stream on all 3. And if you guys can hit the notification, then you can hang out with us. So let me also, super chatters that were here tonight, real quick shout out for each and every one of them. We got Valar. Thank you so much for that introduction. Appreciate it. Priceless, June Smith with multiple super chats, Rosie Duarte, Drama King, multiple super chats, Charles Thompson, Twin on Tour. Who else we got? Angie Homan, Tom Ferreira, and as I said, June, and also Drama King closing it out. Enid and Alden are new, and they probably won't last very long. Everybody else is here. Give me a quick 999 so I can do some shout-outs on the way out the door. We will be back here tomorrow night at 9:30 with a Walking Dead topic. Since we talked about spoilers tonight, it'll be more of a Walking Dead theme, a Walking Dead topic. So there could be a little hints of spoilers, but for the most part, we're going to involve some of our regular people because I would say at least 30% of our audience is not tuning into the streams because they're going to be patient. They don't want to hear it, and they're going to watch. They're going to watch live Sunday night, and we want to respect that as well. So I want to say thanks to Lynn Nesvik, Dark Stark, Dwayne Willis, Angie Gam, Twin on Tour, Mariah Campese, Hippo, Lilith Chi, Najee Watts, Wolfpack Shadow, Chris Riddle, Jason Rayner, Jay Walker, Kimberly M, Casey F, Chris Riddle, Kathy Parker. Thank you so much, Kimberly Smith, Logan, Sheila Mack, DDA Ohio, Daryl Dixon, And one more thing. I know you guys are typing 999. If you guys had a great time, if you like the topics we talked about tonight, if you like the interaction, you like the engagement, make sure you hit that like button. And just give me a different number. Just give me 19 right now in chat if you had a good time and you like what we do here. And with that, hopefully we get a lot of 9s up there, and I am going to head out the door. Appreciate each and every one of you. If I missed you in a shout-out for any reason at all, thank you, Casey. Appreciate that. Then I'll try to give you guys a shout-out tomorrow night. So you guys have a great